the last chance he ever gets because Bronny was thrown into the fire and got third-degree burn. We just saw a terrible sign for Bronny's NBA future.
As if Bronny James' NBA career hasn't been embarrassing enough already, he is now being lectured on national television by his father. You know, as a child, there was nothing worse than being publicly admonished by your parents. Poor Bronny James, he was publicly admonished in front of the entire country.
There's really no way to watch Bronny James right now without feeling the weight of the pressure that follows him into every single game. Every time he checks into the lineup, every eye in the building and every screen watching at home is locked in on every little detail. Every missed jumper, every awkward possession, every stretch where he disappears into the background, it all immediately becomes fuel for another heated debate online. The noise surrounding him keeps building, and that is exactly why so many people are starting to say this situation is becoming genuinely uncomfortable to watch. And it is not because Bronny has no talent or because people believe he is incapable of developing. The real issue is the extraordinary level of attention that comes attached to his name. The spotlight on him is massive, far bigger than anything most young players at his stage ever have to deal with. So even the smallest mistakes end up looking enormous under that kind of magnification.
There is really no way to watch Bronny James play right now without feeling the weight of the pressure that surrounds him with every single game that passes. And it is only getting heavier. Every time he checks into the lineup, it does not matter what quarter it is, what the score is, or who the opponent is. Every eye in the building immediately locks onto him. Every screen watching at home zooms in on every little detail. People are not just watching Bronny play basketball, they are studying him and analyzing him, waiting for something to happen, whether that is a breakout moment or another reason to keep the debate going. And right now, the debate is very much still going. Every missed jumper gets replayed and dissected. Every awkward possession gets clipped and posted. Every stretch where he fades into the background and goes quiet for long periods of time, it all becomes ammunition for another round of heated discussion online. The comment sections fill up instantly, the sports shows pick it up, the podcasts run with it, and by the time the next game rolls around, the cycle starts all over again from the top. The noise surrounding Bronny James is not dying down. If anything, it keeps building with each game that goes by without a breakthrough moment. And that is exactly why more and more people are starting to openly say that this entire situation has become genuinely uncomfortable to watch. Not in a way where people are rooting against him, but in a way where the circumstances around his career have created a tension that is hard to ignore, no matter which side of the conversation you fall on. Now, to be clear, this is not about whether Bronny James has talent. He does. Nobody who makes it to the NBA level gets there without having real ability and putting in serious work to develop their game. And this is not about people believing he can never grow or improve as a player. Young players develop on different timelines, and plenty of guys who struggled early in their careers went on to carve out meaningful roles in this league. That part of the story is not closed. The real issue here, the thing that makes Bronny's situation unlike almost any other young player's situation in recent memory, is the insane, almost suffocating level of attention that comes permanently attached to his name. And that attention does not come from anything he did on the basketball court. It comes from his last name. It comes from who his father is. And that is something he had absolutely zero control over. LeBron James is not just a famous basketball player. He is one of the most recognized and talked about athletes on the planet. His every move gets covered, analyzed, and debated constantly. So when his son entered the league and had the opportunity to play alongside him on the same NBA roster, which was a genuinely historic moment in the league's history, the spotlight that came with that was always going to be on a completely different level than what any other young player entering the league would experience. That was unavoidable from day one. But here's the thing about that kind of spotlight. It does not just illuminate the good moments, it amplifies everything equally. A rookie or second-year player buried on the depth chart of most teams can have a rough stretch of games and barely anyone outside of that team's fan base even notices. There is room to make mistakes quietly. There is room to figure things out away from the glare of national attention. Bronny James does not have that luxury. He has never had that luxury since the moment his name entered the draft conversation. Every single thing he does on the court gets magnified to a level that most veterans with 10 years of NBA experience never have to deal with.
I would imagine it is extremely difficult to be a father and be the leader of the team at the same time. With Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves out, more than likely they're out for the season. I know Austin Reeves is out for the season, but either way, LeBron James is once again the leader on the court for the Lakers, and he has a responsibility to treat Bronny James the same way that he would treat any other role player.
So when he misses a jumper that a shooting guard his age might miss on any given night without anyone batting an eye, it becomes a talking point. When he has a possession where he looks hesitant or unsure of his read, it gets clipped, captioned, and shared thousands of times before the game is even over. When he goes through a stretch where his impact on the game is minimal and he is not able to make his presence felt, it feeds right into the narrative that his critics have been pushing since before he ever played a single professional minute. And that narrative has been loud. Some people have been convinced from the very beginning that Bronny's path to the NBA was paved more by his father's legacy and the marketing opportunity it presented than by his own merit as a basketball player. Whether that is fair or not is a separate conversation entirely, but that belief exists, it is widespread, and it means that every time Bronny struggles on the court, those voices get louder, and every time those voices get louder, the pressure on him increases even more. It becomes this cycle that is almost impossible to escape. The scrutiny creates pressure, the pressure affects performance, the performance invites more scrutiny, and around it goes game after game with no real off switch and no quiet period where he gets to just be a young player learning the game at the highest level without the whole world forming opinions about every step he takes. What makes this even more difficult to process when you watch it play out in real time is that Bronny himself seems to be handling it with a level of composure that honestly deserves more credit than it gets. He is not visibly crumbling. He is not making excuses publicly. He is not going online and responding to the critics or letting the noise spill over into anything unprofessional. He keeps showing up, keeps competing, and keeps putting himself out there knowing full well that every game is going to come with the same level of scrutiny attached to it. But composure alone does not silence the conversation. Results do, moments do. And right now, those defining moments that would shift the narrative and give people a reason to change the subject have not consistently arrived yet. That is the reality of where things stand. And it raises a question that more people are starting to ask out loud. Is the environment that Bronny is currently in actually the best environment for his development as a player? Would he be better served in a situation where the spotlight was less blinding, where he could make mistakes and grow from them without every error becoming national news, where the coaching staff's decisions around his playing time were not being scrutinized and second-guessed by millions of people who all have strong opinions about whether he belongs? These are legitimate questions, not questions designed to tear him down, but questions rooted in genuine concern about whether the current setup is actually giving him the best chance to become the player he is capable of being. Because at the end of the day, Bronny James is a young man trying to build a career in the most competitive basketball league in the world. That is already one of the hardest things a person can attempt to do. The percentage of players who ever make it to this level is incredibly small. And to be doing that while carrying the weight of his father's legacy, while playing under a microscope that never gets put down, while battling a public narrative that was largely written before he even had a chance to establish himself, that is a level of difficulty that most people watching from the outside genuinely underestimate. The pressure on Bronny James is real, it is heavy, and it is not going anywhere anytime soon. The question now is whether he can find a way to cut through all of it and give people something undeniable to talk about. Because in this league, the only thing that truly quiets the noise is performance, and everyone, His supporters, his critics, and everyone in between is still waiting to see what Bronny James is truly capable of when all of the outside noise gets tuned out and it is just him and the game of basketball. That moment may still be coming, but right now, the pressure keeps building and the basketball world keeps watching.